Waste, fraud, and abuse. It's unbelievable how much money we're finding that Doge, just in literally just a few weeks, how much money they've saved the American taxpayer. We'll talk about that number and how it's staggering. And the crazy thing is they're just getting started. Just getting started. We'll go over some of those numbers. Also, we're going to talk about Chicago, how an alderman is more upset that the government is coming in and protecting the Chicagoans versus allowing them to be released. He said, I would rather have more people on the streets causing chaos than have the federal government coming in and arresting some of them. These cities are falling to pieces, and this proves it. We'll talk about Chicago. Also, we're going to talk about a mysterious illness that has taken place on a cruise ship. We see this a lot. Why do people want to go on these cruise ships and it's like a tin can on the water that everybody gets sick? We'll talk about what the CDC is saying about this. And another concern with sickness is what we've realized. For instance, if you watched my video yesterday on Life with Colby Mack and Misty's video, The Max Life, you saw our son having some major problems with walking because of a virus. Now, you remember a few weeks ago, my other son had problems with his heart pitter-pattering. Here's what I'm saying. When did we ever get to the point where all these sicknesses are now starting to attack our body? Are we seeing something bigger than just the old-time, winter flu? We're going to discuss that. And then lastly, we're going to discuss again how the Department of Interior and, of course, Trump has came out and stated, since we won, we will drill. There's been a talk about rare earth minerals like never before. And we'll end this video talking about the fact of the value of what is in our ground in America, especially in places like Nevada. We've talked gold and silver. Now we're going to talk about something else that is so important to America, and so many people don't think nothing about it. But when we hear drill baby drill, it's not just about oil. It's not just about mining gold. It's about finding the rare earth minerals that can change the world and make us more independent. America. We'll talk about that story and so many more. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to our channel, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. We humbly ask that you do that, especially if you like the content of today's video. Also remember the Max Life, my wife's channel. She talked about kind of the nature of what Jennings was going through the last few days, and also our sickness with him. You can tell I'm a little sick still. So we've been just kind of battling this kind of crud or virus or whatever it may be. Also check out the other channel, Life with Colby Mack. I just put my 13th one out. You see kind of the behind the scenes, the backstage access to the Max. A lot of times when we talk about food sustainability, we talk about prepping, but you don't see what we actually do. Life with Colby Mack, that channel shows that. So please go check it out as well. Remember, we do a giveaway each and every month for all those channels, so make sure you are subscribed to them. Now let's jump into the content of the day. First, let's talk about this mysterious illness on the ship, and then we're going to maneuver into kind of the personal thought with the sicknesses based on what we just dealt with. Now, there's a new report that says there's a mysterious illness that has taken off on this Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Now, we've heard this several times because, again, you're putting people in this tight area, literally from all over the world. And I know it sounds cool, it sounds great, but like I had a person, we've never done cruises. It's just something, we don't do buffets, and food's just kind of weird for us, you know that. And so I had a guy tell me one time, he said, you have to enjoy the fact that there could be random kids and random people coughing on your food, grabbing your ice cream, grabbing the food off, and then putting it back, and then you're eating it. And I said, that's just not for us. Well, this kind of is a representation of that. Now, I'm not saying cruises are bad. You might love them. But what we see is an unknown illness that is hitting several cruise ships, but this one in particular. CDC reports unknown illness outbreak on the ship. Nearly 100 people were sickened by the outbreak of unknown gastrointestinal illness this week on the ship. The cause of agent was listed as unknown. And this is the scary thing. And the reason I want to bring this one article up is not because I'm worried about this one little CDC issue. It's probably some bad food. But have you noticed that lately we've had a lot of unknown illnesses, a lot of unknown sicknesses? And the reason I want to talk about this is because it's definitely more personal to me, because a few weeks ago, Aiden's heart was going crazy. I mean, he had to put a heart monitor on. We had to go see a specialist, a pediatric cardiologist. And you're talking about a son who is, I mean, a picture of health. I mean, he runs and works out with me every day. He's in great shape. And to see something like that take place. Well, if you watch the videos from yesterday, We've all been dealing with what they call flu or whatever it is. I don't know. We don't go to the doctor. But in these cases, we had to with Jennings. Did you notice he actually could not walk? I mean, this virus had hit his legs. And it says these viruses and sicknesses now that are mysterious are attacking children's muscles. And again, that's mind-blowing to me. And again, we eat healthy. We're a healthy family. No one's, morbidly obese. No one eats trash food. So it even attacked us. Now, yes, it made me sick. I had a high fever. It attacked two of my other daughters. They had high fevers. Misty's not feeling the best today. She's got a headache. But then it all of a sudden just almost debilitated my son. Now, yes, he's doing better. It took him going to get a drip. He had severe dehydration from the sickness. But what me and Misty were talking about is, have you ever thought that you would see literally a flu or virus that goes all year long? I remember when I was a kid, and again, I'm only 36. I'm not an old man. But I never remembered being sick all year long. I remembered there was strep that always would go around, but usually in the winter, you'd have the flu. You'd see those kind of things pop up. It's amazing that we've had something like this that's supposed to be protecting from the flu, and typically it didn't, but I digress. The thing is, we only saw it for a season. Well, now we're starting to see sicknesses that attack our bodies in mysterious ways all year long. Well, just like yesterday, I walked in Walmart and had to pick up some Epsom salt or something like that. And the line for the pharmacist was literally from the pharmacy all the way back to like the garden section, which is like 150 foot of people. I mean, it looked like they were getting on an amusement ride. Is the reason that we stay sick so much, do you think there's more to it? Because remember, the hospitals, the medical doctors, the pharmacology, none of that makes funds, makes money, unless people are utilizing them. It says a country run by banks will always be in debt. Think about that. Now here's the big one. Healthcare run by big pharma will never cure disease, will never heal sickness. So when we talk about sickness, they make money off you being sick. I mean, I know people make money off crazy things, but we want doctors, no doubt. We want nurses, but have you ever wondered why we stay so sick all year long? It's just a thought. It has nothing to do with the cruise ship. It has to do with the fact that it seems like everything lately has been just one sickness after the other, and it just makes no sense that we're seeing this over and over and over again. And then we get well, and then we get something else. And for most people that run to the doctor, we don't, but there's a lot of people it stays in the doctor's clinic. So we know a lot of those people. And I'm not dogging them out. I mean, if they need to get well, they get well. But what I'm saying is that this is a concern because we never can figure out what this mysterious illness or this crazy new virus is. Why is it doing this? Is it just coincidence or what? Give me your thoughts on that. Another report came out that Doge found out where a lot of the money from schooling is going. Listen to the money that your taxpayer, you as taxpayers, me as taxpayers are paying to these schools. Federal funding for Ivy League schools. Columbia University, $1.2 billion with a B. Yale University, $776 million. Harvard, $676 million. Cornell University, $736 million. Now you think about that. Why are we paying schools that kind of money? Why are we have endowments for that? Especially when they're teaching liberal ways instead of what they actually, most of them were set up as Christian universities. Doge, in 19 days, has saved the taxpayer $74,676,444,346. Almost $75 billion saved just by what they're doing, and that's just in 19 days. This is what we needed. Federal judge, listen to this, just locked and said unconstitutional that Doge or the Treasury Secretary has ways to audit the own Treasury Department. He says that Besant, who is now the Treasury Secretary over the department, over the cabinet, over the wing, literally appointed to be over the Treasury, this judge, this federal judge is saying he does not even get to audit his own Treasury Department. That shows there's some corruption there. And he's saying Doge can't either. Actually, go back and look at Doge. Doge was renamed. Did you know that Doge was actually started, the office basically, it wasn't called Doge, but it was an office started actually by Obama because his main initiative was to do this, to clean it up. But his friends and establishment wouldn't allow it to take place. Well, when Trump revived it and actually changed the name, made it under Elon Musk, you're actually starting to see things get done. Well, this judge is trying to hold it up. It says, Glenn Beck shared this, and I thought this was, it says, let me get this straight. The Treasury Department and the Treasury Secretary cannot even access their own data in the Treasury. Wow. Who's afraid the secret's coming out? The judge was not elected, nor was he given a mandate by the people like President Trump was. Enough is enough. We the people demand transparency. It's our money, not yours. This one little federal judge that was appointed, of course, by a Democrat is trying to hold up Scott Bessent, which is the Treasury Secretary, from auditing and helping audit the files, and Doge audit the files to see where the waste of money has went. There's been no accountability in our government. So now that there's accountability, everybody's freaking out, including Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer, including Bernie Sanders. It's funny how all these people say they're working for you, but they're scared to death of actually exposing where this money has been going. That is a little shady, I think. Now let's move on to the mining situation. You know, Trump won this election, and one of the biggest things was he wanted independence, energy independence, rare earth minerals. You hear him talk about rare earth minerals with Ukraine, with Greenland, with Alaska, with Canada, but he's also been talking a lot about continental USA, doing more mining explorations in these states because he wants to be able to tap into some of the natural resources so we can be independent, energy independent, but also we can become a juggernaut when it comes to what's in our ground when it comes to rare earth minerals. So you see him saying drill baby drill more and more. And that's actually why I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video. Listen to this right quick. It says in February 21, right after Joe Biden took office, the market cap for giant mining was around $100 million. Today it's around $16 million. It plummeted 84%. What we've seen with a lot of these policies of the left was it was destroying the manufacturing and the opportunities that America had with what was in the ground. And that's where Trump is coming back and saying we're going to re-tap some of those resources. We talked coal, we've talked gold, we've talked silver. Well, today we're going to actually be talking about copper. Just a few days ago, Trump told House Republicans that he was going to put tariffs on aluminum, copper, and steel. Remember, he made a big deal with Nippon Steel where Japan can buy our steel. He wants businesses to use what we have in America versus us getting some kind of different version of it from overseas. Why are we not tapping what we have instead of trying to buy it from overseas? Listen to this. It says, in a speech on Monday, Trump said that he would impose tariffs on aluminum and copper, metals needed to produce U.S. military hardware, as well as steel, because he wants to entice producers to make and produce and utilize what the United States has been blessed with. I'll link below a YouTube video of actually where he come in and said this and how he wants to put tariffs on it. So check out that link below so you can hear exactly what he says. Well, today's sponsor is Giant Mining. I want to show you why this company who does silver, gold, and copper mining is actually down 84%. As I told you before, it's because the last administration has held down the opportunities for our companies to actually mine and get our good rare earth minerals out of the soil. And guess where this project is at? Guess where a lot of the mining is done? Nevada. So if we have a chance to, we have a president and a Department of Interior both saying drill baby drill. We have a state like Nevada that has become a juggernaut for rare earth minerals. And now you have a company who is way down to where they can turn around and say we have only an upswing. We've lost a lot of value because of the last administration, but now we're ready to tap a new resource, copper. At the end of this last year, there was a major bill that passed by the House of Representatives called Critical Mining Consistency Act. The whole purpose of what they were passing, and it was just again to help Trump, was it was showing that critical mining is a necessity. I mean, you think about all the things, all the technology, all the computer systems, all those things need copper. Congressman Juan Ciscomani from Arizona said this. I like this quote. It says, the United States must ensure access to reliable supplies versus having to buy it from overseas. Because of this bill, they talked about how copper was such an innovative part of how we build and mine and do so much in America when it comes to technology. This is a quote from Copper CEO Adam Estelle. It says, the vote highlights copper's essential role in powering America's energy. So why would we want to buy this stuff from overseas when we can get it locally? Giant Mining owns a copper project in the world's #1 mining jurisdiction, Nevada, situated in a good old US of A. In the past 4 years, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit, and this past September, Giant Mining hit their very best drill hole ever. BHP Billiton and Rio Tinto, two of the largest copper producers in the world, are warning that copper supplies cannot possibly meet the future demand of artificial intelligence and the construction renaissance for US and China. Now, we talked about how important this AI race is, not because we believe it's good for us. I actually think it's very bad for us. But if we want to be a competitor in this market when it comes to technology and the safety of AI, and hopefully America can take care of its people and not allow these other adversaries to get this technology first, copper is a big part of that. And here's what's important about the sponsor of today. It says, meanwhile, the share price of Giant Mining, whose flagship gold, silver, and copper project in Nevada they're called Mahuba Hill, has depreciated from $4.20 back in 23 to now only 30 cents today. Now the opportunity arises, so we can look at opportunities to use this mine again where they have found the copper and now they're looking to mine it once more, especially under the president that we have now. This project has 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184 ounces of silver, 5,800 ounces of gold, and 21,000 pounds of tin. That was from 1900 to 1950. They said this project is just getting started. Just the fact that this project is ready to go. Listen to this. It has the access roads, the power supply, transportation, water supply, ore stockpiles, and it also has the processing plants. Therefore, when we combine a good leadership with Trump, also a strong mine in Nevada from a company who really is at their lowest point because of the last administration, I think it's a game changer, and you need to look at this company. Here's my thoughts when we talk about these mines and talk about gold, silver, precious metals, rare earth minerals. We have to find something to believe in. We have to find something that reinvest into America. What better way than actually investing in things that we need, such as gold, silver, and copper? I'm actually excited to see some of these companies like this really taking off. We've talked about Nevada before. Nevada is going to be a hub for a lot of companies doing good things to find great benefits of rare earth minerals. We're to a point now where we're starting to find ways to be completely independent, completely energy sufficient, self-sustainable, and what we're seeing is an administration that believes in that. Now we have companies ready to put people to work. And this is exciting to me. I actually like this company. I like the fact that because it's so cheap, why not look at shares? I mean, they're literally less than $1. And again, it's been up just a few years ago to $4 and something. So you think about the upswing. Focus on learning more about Giant Mining, about companies like this, because I believe we're going to see a massive uptick of mining operations to get these wonderful things out of the ground, because we have an administration that wants to see America thrive. Now, last story I want to actually talk about is Chicago. Chicago's alderman came out and said he's actually more upset the fact that America is sending ICE in and trying to deport people than him being the one to let out illegals into the streets. He said, I'd rather have people on the streets that should not be illegally than have ICE come in and start arresting them. Now think about that logic. I mean, it just kind of blows my mind that we see someone so blinded by his own leftist agenda and policies. And this is all Chicago, and this is most cities. I mean, this is the actual quote that he said that should just blow your mind. We're getting more upset at Trump for enforcement than Biden for letting our criminals in the city. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. He would rather have people on the streets causing mayhem and mischief, stealing, thieving, and not contributing to society than have Trump's administration come in and actually start arresting them and cleaning up the towns. You wonder why I say get out of the cities, because you have leaders like this that someone puts into power. I mean, it's kind of like California. California literally has major problems with fire damage, and they don't want to support their people, but they just wrote legislation to give $50 million as a slush fund to help adhere to keeping illegal immigrants there versus actually getting them deported. They want to fight against Trump's agenda. Why do we have to get out of these liberal states and these liberal economies and these liberal cities? Because they're literally taking your tax dollars to use against you. Like we talked about with Elon, how Elon is finding so many holes in all this stuff and all this waste. All these things go together. You're starting to see exposures. And what I mean by that is you're starting to see Elon bring up exposure. You're starting to see Trump do great things when taking these security clearances away. We're starting to see opportunities of drilling and getting American manufacturing back instead of buying it from overseas. I absolutely love tariffs on all rare earth minerals and all precious metals and all steel from overseas. You know why? Because for the longest everybody's like, oh, well, it's going to cost you more. Well, you should be buying from America in the first place. Now, does America need to reform some policies and make sure that the regulations lower, so therefore they can get the quality stuff out of the ground cheaper, and that way it can be sold to Americans? Absolutely. There's a lot of roadblocks there that we need to get through and hurdles. But to say we're willing to support American business, American manufacturing, that is huge. Now, let's go back to Chicago just for a second. If we don't take care of these situations to where we get some of these people out of leadership, then we're going to keep seeing these cities fall to pieces. I bring this up all the time. Jackson, Mississippi is close to me. New Orleans is, it's within hours of me. Baton Rouge is within hours of me. What we see with a lot of these cities is because of their ideologies and their policies is they've literally let their cities go to absolutely nothing to where no one wants to go there. Did you see in New Orleans, like this guy was getting ready for the Super Bowl, and he was a reporter or something, and ended up getting mugged and lost his life. This is a suburb of New Orleans. If we don't start cleaning up our cities, then no one's going to want to live there, and then the tax base is going to want to move out of there. For instance, Mississippi, the state capital is Jackson. The state government has had to actually do emergency powers to come in there and help them build infrastructure because the city of Jackson is so broke because all the tax bases has moved out of this liberal city. And that's what's happening with all these cities. Now, Chicago, New York, some of those bigger ones can hold on for a long time. But what you're seeing is no one wants to live there. It's amazing how Democrats are doubling down on bad policies, and it's actually making their populace more unsafe and the tax bases for their areas worse, to where they don't have any infrastructure. They don't have any tax bases. They have all the businesses moving out. Jackson is terrible in Mississippi, but all the other little suburbs around it and areas around it, such as Ridgeland or Madison, it's amazing how they're blossoming. They're growing. Their businesses are booming, and they're kept safe. That's what's happening in these cities. But when you have aldermen who are willing to say, in Chicago, who are willing to say they would rather have Biden's policies of releasing people into their city where taxpayers have to pay for it, where thieving is worse, stealing is worse, loitering is worse, tax basis is gone. They'd rather have that than Trump coming in and trying to clean up their town. That is a problem. And you're going to see more and more of that. And the more they talk, actually, I think most Americans are going to say, you're ignorant. And we don't want that part in America. And I'm hoping that you will see more of what you're seeing now. Democrats standing against the openness of Doge, standing against what Trump is doing, and actually it's making them weaker, and they've lost their way. And that's what's encouraging, because now you're starting to see people really back Trump. His approval ratings are through the roof right now. And that is encouraging, because people would rather have safe streets, their money in their pocket, less waste in the government, and the government working and supporting American jobs like we talked about with mining. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video, from the sicknesses that we talked about, even down to the mining opportunities. I want to be wise. And when I see Elon Musk doing this kind of stuff to save us money, I see Trump doing this and taking security clearances away, I see opportunities for American manufacturing, like we talked about with mining. I see the fact that people are getting sick, so we want to do more to do better and try to hold people accountable. All these things teach us to do better and live wiser and make sure we have a good head on our shoulders. Thank you for watching. God bless.